YouTube, what's going on today? This is a crazy video. We're talking about World Series of Warzone, the biggest custom match tournament ever, period. $400,000 on the line today. They're whitelisting their players. Let's talk about it. Comment down below if you like these videos, maybe your favorite part, or hey, maybe if you played in World Series of Warzone, let me know what you think about the whitelist servers. Let's get into it. Alrighty, the voice of Verdansk morning show is back, and we're gonna make a list of everything that needs to change with private matches. We're gonna talk about what's going on with the private matches and why World Series of Warzone isn't using them. But also, I'm gonna take that list and literally send it to some context that we have, that Doug and I have with Activision as well as Raven Software, just to see if we can get any feedback at all. Because something that was brought a lot of hope, right, to this whole conversation was that they actually made changes to custom matches in the last patch, right? We talked about this earlier. We had some changes that we really needed, which was the revive timers and the self-revive timers, okay? Those were the huge changes, because those, when you get into a game with private matches and you try to go revive somebody, it takes you 30 minutes to revive them compared to what it is in a normal game. They finally fixed that, but there's a lot more things that needs to be fixed. So let's pull up our trusty notepad and let's get into our conversation as per usual. I did put out a tweet, as I've been doing the last couple of videos, for some guidance from some people in the community. If there's anything they wanted to see, I said, help me list everything wrong with Warzone custom games right now, pointing down need and blah blah blah, trying to see something, etc. Okay, so this is it, right? This is it. So we're gonna go through all of these comments, what people said that they would love to see, as well as just pull out our handy dandy notepad and write some things down. All right, Warzone custom games. Again, reminder, the reason we're doing this is because World Series of Warzone whitelists players instead of using their own UI. Okay, this is the really important piece. This is the reason we're talking about this, right? What does whitelist even mean? That might be a question of yours. Whitelist means this is kind of actually how Apex does their stuff. You whitelist a player and it puts you into a certain match. I think basically the way Apex works is they don't have a custom match UI for the player, but if you're a tournament organizer, you can be given the ability to set up a custom match, which is actually pretty cool. That's different than even whitelisting. Whitelisting is what everybody accuses people of doing that are large streamers. So if you're a Tim the Tatman, or you're a whoever, Nick Mercs, or a Tfue, or a Symphony, or whoever, Aiden maybe, and people say, why are your lobbies trash? A lot of people say, hey, they're whitelisted, which means that they get easier lobbies. Okay, whatever, that's fine. You can have that opinion. I'm not going to talk about that today. Whitelist means you are on a list, literally a white list, just like our notepad over here on the left side, right? A whitelist where all of these big players are put onto this list and they're put into easier servers. That's how a lot of people use it. For World Series of Warzone, whitelist is a list of players that are playing in the event, and it allows them to join when they hit join game on their screen. Like if you just go to your normal Warzone screen and you go click over and you go join game and you do public match and you do freaking trios or quads, right? When you click that button to search for a game, it's not searching for a whole a lobby all over the world or all over the country that you live in. It's searching just for that one specific server that you're whitelisted for, or that you're listed to be playing on. It'll put you into one specific game with everyone else. Okay, does that make sense? So if we have 148 players playing World Series of Warzone game, and every single game they have 5 matches or something like that, and they're all trying to join the same lobby, instead of joining the custom match UI and having somebody set up the custom match, you literally just hit the button, hey, search for game, and you're going to search, get into the lobby you're supposed to be in with everyone else that you're competing against. Okay, so this is the really important part about whitelisting. Instead of using customs, they list players for pubs and join the same lobby. Okay, so everybody that's playing in the event will all get into the same public lobby instead of using their custom match UI. Now, why is this important? Why do they do this is really the main question. The main reason is because it requires a lot less from the admins. There's a lot of issues with custom matches right now, and public matches seem to be the most stable in terms of their servers. Okay, so we're going to talk about custom matches and why they don't want to use the custom match game mode, because of not only like issues that the game mode has where like you crawl really slow, and there's like a lot of people I think that there's like this whole a bullet reg issue, but also just joining a custom match is harder than whitelisting, which is actually insane if you think about that. Their in-game functionality for a custom match is harder to join than taking all the players, whitelisting them for a specific server that Activision has to do all the work from, but like behind. That's insane. So let's talk about custom matches suck. What do we want from custom matches? Custom match issues. What are the things that we want? Okay, this is where we get our list. Okay, so this is where I did the list on Twitter. I said, help me everything. I need all these details, everything that you think is wrong with custom matches. Of course, I have my own list, but I want to see what other people said. So we're just going to kind of go through some of these people's comments and responses and read them out. If you're on your phone, you might not be able to read this as well, but I'm going to read them out to you. Got a good number of responses on this. So Naftix responded. Yeah, I agree with that, Sicarius, as well. We'll talk about that in a moment. Hey, Justice, thank you for the 4 months. I really appreciate that. So Naftix responded and said, customization should be possible. Yes. In zones are usually terrible. Okay, that might be opinion. Crawl speed. This is a big one. We're going to start with just like the basics. Crawl speed is insanely slow. They don't want the game change to be different than their current game, right? If there's something different in private matches versus public matches, the public matches what everyone plays, you don't want people to have to play to a different style because you're playing in custom matches. Crawl speed, slow. Downed health. This is a big one. 100 instead of 200, so one nade finishes you if you don't rock EOD. Interesting. Less in customs. Okay, not bad. Okay, first list. Need Pantsnome. Need to isolate and change ground loot, bannable weapons, 1 per team. Okay, so this is the question of customization options. Customization options include things like GA'd or banned weapons, right? Talk about ground loot changes. We could talk about limiting guns per player team. We could talk about, let me keep going, look for other customization options people said. Okay, yeah. GA'd weapons. I'll put perks up here as well. I like Vroxen's response here. This is a good response, Vroxen. Ground loot selection, which we said already. Enable, disable circle perks. That's okay. Circle, like those are like events, is I think what people say. Events, in-game event, custom. Weapons for banning purposes, enable disable perks, utilities for banning purposes, circle timer speed. A lot of people say that. If you want to speed up or slow down the game, vehicles. Where the circle timer speed slash end game. How do I want to say this? In-game location. In-game and circle closing locations. I'll say that. Basically, you can customize how the circle closes every single time if you want to. Vehicles. So there's your customization options. Let's get into other issues with private matches. No code to join is a big one. That's what a lot of people said. No codes to join, which solves a lot of the issues that we're about to list, which are lobbies not starting or bugging. right? That's a huge issue. And then we've got you've got the codes will also solve this issue. EU players can't receive invites for some reason. That's a massive issue. They don't receive invites. You have to keep the game open for anyone to join. People joining that you can't ban from the lobby, which is insane. Can't ban people from joining. Can only, if you're a member, you can only kick someone, and then as they join again, you have to kick them again, and then join again, they kick them again. It's really frustrating and infuriating. A lot of people are saying there's bullet reg issues. Bullet reg meaning registration, like if it lands or not, something like that. Bullet registration issues. It sounds like you're like signing up for something when we say registration. Dev errors in general. Oh, this is another issue that not a lot of people know about. If you joining host early causes you to be placed on a random team. So this is a lot of the issues when you're watching a tournament and they're like, we had to reset the lobby. It's because sometimes people get really aggressive with joining the lobby host, and they join the lobby host before they start the game, or like immediately before, like seconds before. They then start the private match game, and you are on the tournament host team when they started the game. And even if you change teams during the team selection process, when they start the match, it'll swap you back to usually the lobby host team, which is insane. But that's an actual known issue. And then of course, this is the big one: caster mode, spectator mode. I've harped on this a ton. I'm not going to harp on this a lot today. A lot of people call this theater mode. Maybe RE if you're from the EU. But yeah, caster mode, spectator mode, theater mode is a huge thing that we would love to see involved in this game. But at the same time, this is not really the issues for them not using it. This is just something we'd like to see. Let's see. Anything else that I've missed on here? Ghost only works 50% of the time. I mean, I'll write that down. I don't know if that's true. Ghost issues. Speedy Possum still freezes trying to grab his loadout. Fair enough. A lot of people say there's input delay. No caster function. Agreed. Down players. Crawling in split quicksand. Okay, I think we got a lot of the details listed out. And this was, I know, a little bit boring because I was just writing a bunch of things out. But I think this is important. So we got a lot of thing over here. We can see this. It filled up our whole notepad over on the left side, okay? But it's crazy to think that their game is being propped up by the competitive scene. I would say from the streamer side of things in particular. You watch a lot of streamers that play in tournaments all the time. It's being propped up by that, and yet they can't bring in some of these issues. Look, I'd even say if they really don't want to give us customization options for some odd reason, maybe it's too hard to do, like it's really difficult, I don't know, at least we want all of the issues with it fixed, right? We want the crawl speed to be fixed. We want down health to be fixed. We want the we want the no codes. Like that should be an easy fix. Just have a code to join. I mean, Splitgate does an incredible job of this. If you go into the custom match UI of Splitgate, it takes me 30 seconds to set up a private match, get all of the rules that I want. You can pick what weapons people spawn in with. You can pick the map. You can do all this stuff, and then it's just a code, and people can join off the code, or you can just invite everybody, and nobody's joining off somebody else that's already in there. Like it's the easiest thing in the world. The bugs and the dev errors, it's got to be some sort of issue with the server. I don't know what this EU players thing is. Can't ban people from joining. Like that's the easiest fix in the world. Like why is that not a thing? Probably because each custom match is not dedicated to some specific server or something like that. All of them are on some major server base, and the server base is a lot smaller than the public match servers, like reasonably. And I guess you can't ban them off of like one specific game because it doesn't have its own dedicated whatever. I don't know how it works. All I know is these are all crazy big issues that need to be fixed, and Warzone, Activision, Raven Software are aware of these issues, not fixing them, and then whitelisting everybody for their biggest tournaments in the game really showcases how much they don't care about custom matches, which is beyond surprising to me because there's so many events happening in the custom match space. As a tournament admin, it can be extremely frustrating as well because we're trying to put on an incredible tournament and we can't even start the first match of the tournament we had yesterday for an hour because of some of these issues, dev errors, like all of this stuff happening. And funny enough, one of the main reasons that we couldn't get the tournament started for an hour later, right, is because we had EU players playing in the event that were already early whitelisted for some odd reason. I think it was an accident, or they were doing some sort of test thing right after the draft. They tried to join our tournament, and it like wouldn't let them join the custom match UI because they were whitelisted. It was trying to get them to do one specific like thing on the game, which was join the, you know, whitelisted server. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into this conversation, but the main piece to this is that, hey, Warzone, you have a custom match UI for a reason. Can we please use it, and can we please have it optimized? Because this is going to help you in the longevity of your game working in general, to have your custom match UI like cleaned up. And unfortunately, they don't currently. And it's really difficult to use at a high level and take seriously, because even in the biggest tournaments in the game, when you play in a $100,000 tournament that uses this custom match UI, you still have people dev erroring out of the game. And unfortunately, tournament admins have rule sets in their discords and in each of their tournaments that says, hey, look, if X amount of people dev error out, we're not restarting, because it's so common. And if that X amount plus one dev errors out, then we're restarting. Like, the fact that that has to be a rule set is absolutely insane with the amount of money we're talking about, right? Not only the amount of money like Activision brings in, but in Raven Software and all of that stuff, but you're talking $100,000 tournament, $100,000 tournament, $100,000 tournament, $100,000 tournament. I've never casted a $100,000 tournament, and I've casted over almost $250,000 worth of prize pools handed out to people. And most of those were custom matches, not all of them, but a lot of them were custom matches, right? $250,000 handed out to players in custom matches, and there are teams getting shirked out of money because their teammate lags out during the game, and we have rule sets in place to say, oh, well, it wasn't 3 people, so we got to keep playing, because otherwise we'd be there all day, because almost every single time there's one person lagging out. That's what's so frustrating, is that we're trying to take Warzone as a competitive game, and we have issues that are, I wouldn't say simple because I don't know the coding, but issues that seem so simple compared to other games' custom matches, custom match UI, that it's like, what are we talking about right now? And why is there so much money going into Warzone tournaments when there's these issues? And it's not like, okay, we just don't play customs, we go back to 2v2s and pubs, because, well, of course there's a hacker problem until Vanguard comes out, and theoretically the anti-cheat's going to fix that. So I wanted to make a video on this because, and it doesn't have to be long, because this is like the most important part of like esports. Like you have to have your competitive game. If you're gonna try to make a competitive game, if you're gonna try to make a competitive, you know, tournament series, you have to have your game taken seriously. And in the custom match scene, like it's not really taken seriously, especially from a tournament admin position, because, you know, not only do we not have our spectator caster mode, so we can't even really cast with like any sort of real analytical breakdowns or like showcasing the way the entire map's being played. So all of our main broadcasts are being taken as a joke, but also even the admin side is being taken as a joke because there's so many issues with it. And so as somebody that's on that side, not a competitor, but on the other side, it's, you know, it's frustrating for competitors when stuff happens to them. But from my side, it's even more frustrating because my job looks like a joke. This is my full-time job, running tournaments and commentating tournaments. And it looks like a joke because I can't bring the highest level. Like the skill gap is so or the skill floor, I will say, is so incredibly low for casters in Warzone right now, because basically all you have to do is understand the game and just talk. And when you watch competitive esports and you watch the highest level of esports in all these other games that have, you know, $500,000 prize pools or $1 million prize pools or whatever, there's so much more that goes into the main broadcast that we can't bring because just the lack of a caster mode. And then of course the fact that, hey, even if we whitelisted instead and fixed all of our customization options, we still don't have that caster mode. It's not a double entendre, but it's like an issue that we almost can't fix unless we go through this entire list of customization options we want and need, as well as the issues in custom matches, and fix them all. That would revive a truly competitive game in Warzone and make it a lot more competitive. And theoretically, you could even bring about, you know, things that people have been talking about for a while, which is a competitive Warzone league where, you know, CDL teams are actually using these content creators they've picked up as their Warzone competitors, and we run bigger and bigger and bigger events. I know for a fact, I've talked to people that know that Activision has been thinking about actually doing that, making a Warzone league. Like, hey, we run a Warzone league during like CDL, Call of Duty League for multiplayer. We run a Warzone league or Warzone Professional League during the off season of the CDL, and all of the CDL teams have Warzone competitors under their name and have a team or 3 teams or 5 teams to be putting into these tournaments. And we run a full like league, like with a season. And they should, but they can't because they don't have the UI for it. And it's not going to get the viewership that they want, right? The reason the CDL gets so good of viewership right now, even like on an off year like this last year, some people say, and they're still getting their main broadcast viewership still 60, 70,000, depending on the people playing, is because the people that are playing it aren't streaming. And they have an incredible broadcast mode in their multiplayer scene. So they can't do it. It wouldn't get any viewership. So it's frustrating from our side of things that the thing that would really continue to bring about the competitive Warzone scene and bring so much more money, even, you know, there's so much money currently happening, like getting thrown into the Warzone scene. It would be 2, 3, 5x if we had these changes in custom matches and the spectator caster mode to where the main broadcast could bring value. Because if we had the caster mode, and I will just hear me say this, if we had the caster mode itself, they can make a Call of Duty Warzone League, CWL, maybe a little bit tongue-in-cheek, Call of Duty World League, it's a different thing, but we could do a Call of Duty Warzone League, right? And I promise, if there was enough money in these prize pools and it was just for these specific like season events, the streamers that are playing Aiden, a Huskers, a Rated, a Tommy, an Almond, an Iceman Isaac, a whoever, they would not stream on their personal accounts if it meant that they were a part of this league and they could count themselves as a pro player and make money in this league. I promise they would, but they will not do that because our main broadcast brings 0 value and it would be boring to watch. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you can see kind of what we want in the custom match scene, custom private match scene, and hopefully we can put this out on Twitter, signal boost it a little bit, and talk to Activision or Raven Software about it, because I think it's really important.